Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I have been looking through the comments on my previous videos and I have noticed that a hell of a lot of you want to know about my tongue piercings. So I would say that they're quite visible because obviously I talk so much and like you can see them when I talk. So obviously you've noticed that I've got tongue piercings and I have more than one. So you've been asking me about them. So I thought, why not put it in a video for you guys to enjoy? So basically what I have is it looks like 3 piercings, but it's actually 2. So there's the one that goes through the center of the tongue, like that, and then I have the surface one at the back, which goes through and under the surface of the tongue and then out the other side. Because a lot of people, when they look at my tongue, they think, oh my god, you've got 3 tongue piercings, and it's like, no, actually I only have 2, but obviously there's 3 balls / studs on my tongue. So today I thought I'd sort of take you through the process of having them both done, go through the pain, go through sort of everything to do with getting these piercings. So I've had them for a hell of a long time. Like, I think I first got my tongue pierced maybe about 9-10 years ago. I was only young, I was at school, and I actually was suspended for it because I had a lip piercing and I used to wear a clear bar, and then they were like, no, you can't wear that. And then they noticed my tongue, so then I put a clear bar in and they said that I'm not allowed to return back to school until I've had the clear bar removed. And it sort of went like that, and then eventually me and my mum managed to smooth them over, and they said, right, they said, you know, we're allowed you to have the tongue piercing, because I can understand sort of facial piercings because they said about health and safety, you know, you could get them caught on things around the school and they don't want the trouble of that. But with a tongue piercing, it's just like, you know what I mean, what are you going to get it caught, unless you're like snogging the teachers or something, you know what I mean, or snogging your boyfriend. It's like, but yeah, so they eventually allowed me to have that, but they said you've got to have a clear stud, and they said keep it from the other students, because once one's got a tongue piercing, they're all going to want a tongue piercing basically. So that is what I did. So yeah, I had that done. The process of getting, so I had the one that goes all the way through done first. I can honestly say I think that was one of my least painful piercings. Like, it did bleed a bit, it sort of, when the needle went through, sort of, because what she said, if you hold a bit of tissue here, and then I just presumed for blood, but actually that as she pushed the bar through, the needle sort of fell out in my hand, and I was like, oh my god, I've got the needle in my hand. And there was a tiny bit of blood, but she sort of gave a bit of mouthwash, swished it around, and then just spat it out, and that was fine. Swelling, it swelled up a hell of a lot. I couldn't really eat much. I think I just basically lived off like a week to 2 weeks mashed potato and ice cream, which is, to be fair, 2 of my favourite things. Throw in some bangers and mash, and you know, throw the sausages in, on cloud 9. But obviously I couldn't have eaten the sausages, so I had to eat soft foods, which was absolutely fine. You know, it didn't bother me eating the soft foods. And then so after I had got through all that, I seem to remember I had a lump around the hole, and I think I must have had that for a good few months, and then thankfully it did go away. So I think it was like, you know, when you have like a cartilage piercing and you get the little piercing bump on there. So I just think that that's what that was. And then it must have been, I think, about between 6 months to a year after that, I had the surface piercing, which goes through one side of the skin and comes out the other. That didn't hurt at all. That sort of, it bled like the first one. It didn't hurt at all. Just as I say, it just went through. I didn't really know I had that. It swelled up a little bit because I remember my dad didn't know that I'd had that done. My mum obviously did, because she had to take me because I was underage, so she had to sign the forms to say that I could have it done. And it wasn't long before we was going on holiday to Florida, and I was like, Mum, why have we done this now? We should have waited, because I'm going to be talking with a stutter while we're on holiday, and my dad is going to be like, what the hell is the matter with her? But yeah, so that healed pretty good. I just basically cleaned them both with mouthwash, But yeah, I know a lot of piercing sort of experts and piercers are sort of going off the idea of having surface piercers now, because I know they say that they never heal and they don't heal properly, and they reject because obviously it's on the surface, and especially with the tongue, because the tongue is a muscle and it's always moving. That is like sort of can sort of restrict the tongue. So I can see why sort of piercers say that, you know, you shouldn't have surface piercings anymore. But yeah, touch wood, I have not had any trouble with my surface piercing. It is fully healed. But yeah, I don't know, literally I was in hospital at the start of this year and I had to take them both out to have an operation, and I took them out and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel as though I couldn't speak. I literally had a stutter with taking them out, and I was like, but, like that. And then I put them back in and it's like normal self again. So yeah, I wouldn't, to be fair, I wouldn't be without tongue piercings now. Do they ruin your teeth? Do tongue piercings ruin your teeth? Yes. Since I've had my tongue piercings, I don't know if it's a coincidence or if it's to do with the piercings, but my teeth do feel more sensitive. Like, I've always sort of had sensitive teeth. Like, I've always had to be cagey about what I eat. But then I personally don't think it's to do with the tongue piercings. I think that it was just sort of a natural cause of events, because as I said, they were sensitive before the tongue piercings, but then they did get more sensitive. I have got a little chip there which was done just after I had the piercing, because what I did is I stupidly, to do it up when I undone it one day, I put it between the tooth and I was twisting the little ball, and of course it just took the little bit off my tooth, and it was really rough, and then it filed down, and then it's been fine. But sort of I just think, because especially with the tongue, the surface piercing, because it goes through the tongue, where it sits, I have crunched down on it when I've been eating food sometimes, so you do have to be really careful that you don't do that. But I don't generally have no trouble with them. I did have sort of a lot bigger balls on this tongue, a lot bigger stud, and I just downsized completely, and they're half the size of what they used to be, so they don't get in the way when I'm eating. But yeah, no, I don't have any trouble with them now. As I say, we're like 9-10 years on now, it's gone so quick. But I love tongue piercings. I think they look amazing when you talk. I've always loved tongue piercings. I can remember when I was really diddy saying, when I'm older, the minute I can get my tongue pierced, Mum, I'm going to get it done. And my mum's like, no, you're not. But thankfully I sort of turned her around and she was like, okay, she's like, you can have your tongue pierced now. But yeah, so I absolutely love my tongue piercing. To pierce both the tongues, the lady used, because I went to the same piercer, she used a foldy clamp, so to push the tongue down quite thin, and then basically they just clean the area out. They just put, like any piercing, they just put a needle through the tongue or through the surface, and it comes out the other side. I think if I remember rightly, she used a torch to like look for veins and all that. Don't quote me on it, but I'm almost certain, if I remember rightly, she did use a torch. But yeah, no, I do find that sometimes people sort of say to me, do you play with your tongue piercing a lot? I wouldn't say I play with it. Sometimes I'm a bit like I do go like that, but no, I don't play with it, I wouldn't say. And I know you're going to think that I'm absolutely nuts, but I used to suffer with ulcers all of the time. I always had an ulcer, like, and most of them were on my tongue. And then since I've had my tongue piercing, I think I've probably had about 2 ulcers on there. It's so mad, and I don't know why that has sort of changed, you know, having the hole in the centre of the tongue has changed why I don't get mouth ulcers. But it's like, it's fantastic, because as I say, I used to suffer all of the blooming time. So would I recommend getting a tongue piercing? Yes, in fact, I would recommend someone get a tongue piercing if you're thinking about it. Obviously, go to a professional piercer. I've seen the horrible, horrible videos of people doing their tongue themselves. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, I've done some of my own piercings. I've done videos on my YouTube channel, check them out, of me piercing my own vertical labret. I've done my ears and all that before I did my nose. But I'm sorry, your tongue is, you know, you shove a needle through that tongue and you go for the wrong thing, you could be a goner or seriously ill in hospital. So I would never, ever advise for someone to do their own tongue piercing. Always seek a professional. I have actually heard of some people getting the both piercings like what I've got on the tongue done together, because then basically you get all of the healing and everything sort of over in one go. Because obviously if you want like what I've got, you sort of need to heal one and you can't really eat hardly anything, and then you have to go through it again. So I personally, unless a professional piercer can tell me not to, I would sort of try and see if you could have both of them done in the same time, because obviously, as I say, it's one lot of healing instead of two. But one thing that I do suggest is clean your piercing. I've got a friend, she when she had a tongue piercing, she never cleaned it, and I'm like, oh my god. That's another thing that happened. This one did get infected, and I can honestly tell you, the taste, I know you're not eating while you're watching this, but the taste was absolute filth. It was just disgusting. So always clean your piercings. Even though I did clean it, I mean, it's sort of a hard piercing to keep clean because obviously you have to eat. So what I would suggest is to sort of clean it. I think I cleaned it about 3 times a day, and I always cleaned it after food. So like I'd have my breakfast, clean it, dinner, clean it, you know, whatever, and just make sure that that piercing is thoroughly clean. So that's it for this video, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I really hope that I've cleared up some of the questions that you wanted to know about my 3 tongue piercings. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to comment below this video and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All I have to say is please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next update. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.